Hey guys, welcome back to Scanning the Mind. For those of you who don't know us yet, I'm Varun, I'm a radiology trainee in the UK.
And my name's Sanchit, I'm a psychiatry trainee in the UK.
So today we are lucky to be joined by Surina, who is a junior doctor in Australia, who's kindly agreed to come on before her night shift to talk about her experiences of living in Australia. So without further ado, welcome Surina.
Hi, I'm Surina. I'm a junior doctor working in Australia at the moment. I trained in the UK, but I came out here for my F3 year about 8 months ago.
To just get it started, when did you start thinking about going to Australia? When was it kind of that first little seed in your mind?
For some reason, I think it was almost even before I got to medical school. I don't know why I knew about this whole Australia thing so early, but I think it was a big reason why I even applied was I knew I could do that at some point down the line. And I think there's very few jobs where you know you can move countries fairly easily and get a job and see other people having done it as well. And I think it was quite a well-trodden route with medicine. So it was something I feel like I knew about really early, maybe family friends or something. And then all throughout medical school, I knew for sure I would definitely want to look into it at least. And then it all just kind of fell into place. Like after F1 and F2, I think a lot of people do get tired and do want a break. And I definitely understood that by the time F2 came around, especially with the pandemic and everything. I think most people needed a break. And yeah, Australia was already a plan at the back of my mind, so just started going down that route. But it was a bit up in the air because of the pandemic. I didn't know if it would work out. Australia has been locked down for months and some parts years. Like Western Australia has only just opened up very recently. So I wasn't sure if it would work out. So I still applied for training and everything very begrudgingly, like I knew I didn't really want to do it. But then I wasn't sure what my options would be. But luckily Australia worked out. So yeah, it all worked out like I wanted for the last few years.
I don't think I've ever spoken to someone who knew that early on that actually, I'm going to go abroad.
I had a few friends who like in third and fourth year clocked that, I want to go to Australia. And to be fair, they've not come back. They've got training jobs out there now. I think it's a pretty good idea. I think even if you're in first and second year med school, just start thinking about it because, it's not something I thought about.
No.
And in retrospect, I kind of wish I had gone. You said you're based in Brisbane, is that correct?
Yeah, Brisbane in Queensland, yeah.
So how did you decide to go to like Brisbane specifically, or did it just kind of...
Oh no, I just applied to pretty much the whole country. I think I probably sent about 50 or so emails. I didn't really know that much about Australia. I have been once, but pretty briefly. Obviously everyone's heard of Sydney, Melbourne, and I focused a lot of attention to the cities. So Sydney, Melbourne, Perth and Brisbane, I'd say, was where I probably sent the most applications. I was pretty desperate, so applied absolutely everywhere, found every email address, probably emailed the whole of recruitment in Australia in the hospitals. And Brisbane was the first city to get back. Loads of kind of peripheral, rural hospitals got back quite quickly. I think they definitely rely on kind of international graduates a bit more, but Brisbane was the first city, so I just jumped on it because I knew I wanted to be in a city.
I think it would be a bit strange to go somewhere rural in Australia, just kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because rural in Australia is rural.
Yeah, no, you're literally, I've heard you're on webcam to a specialist in a tertiary hospital and they're just telling you what to do in the middle of nowhere and you have to do it because, it's super, super remote.
So just going back to your point, so you knew pretty early on you wanted to go to Australia. Why do people go? Like, what made you want to go to Australia?
I think for me, first and foremost, it was that amazing balance of being able to travel, but also having some sort of income coming in. I think it's quite hard to get both of those things at the same time. And here it's a very, like I said, a very established path to do that, and so many people come and do that here. So I think that was the main reason, was I wanted to definitely travel and use my F3 for things outside of medicine as a proper break, but obviously something's got to pay for all of that, so here was a really, really good compromise to actually work and travel at the same time. So I'd say that was the main reason for me. I guess secondary, it is about kind of exploring other healthcare systems, potentially wanting to work somewhere else, more kind of long-term planning, but for me, it was all about where can I go and see things and travel, but also earn at the same time.
Was Australia the only other country you looked at? Because I know a lot of people look at New Zealand and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, there wasn't any particular reason I picked Australia over New Zealand. I think I would be open to both, and I think both places British people do go a lot, British doctors do go a lot, but I think I just focused a lot of energy into Australia that I didn't really have time to then look into all the admin of New Zealand.
As a UK doctor, you look at people going to Australia after F1, F2, and they say, oh, it's amazing, working out here is great, and you kind of think it's this kind of El Dorado where everything's perfect. What's it actually like working out there?
So, I definitely agree that we all, like when we were working in the UK, thought that Australia was this ideal work haven where the grass is definitely greener. And everyone who comes there, I think, paints a really nice picture of it as well. Like, you hardly have to work and, you know, life's great, it's always sunny, you're surfing, etc. But at the end of the day, it is very similar to the NHS in that it's a big healthcare system which is predominantly public still, serving a lot of people. So there is still staff shortages, there are still staying late and battling with the rota coordinator, trying to get time off, and all of those, you know, slow computers, all of that stuff that makes day-to-day work in the NHS so frustrating sometimes, and something for some reason I thought wouldn't exist here at all. But of course it does, and I think that was a big shock. When I got here, I was like, oh, like, it's the same but different. But objectively, there are better things. Mentioned the pay is better, you're working less hours. I think people are generally a little bit happier. Probably the weather is a big reason, but I think the pay is as well, because one massive difference from the NHS is all of your time is reimbursed, whether that's your normal hours or if you're being paid premium to work weekends and public holidays. So although I'm on nights today, I'll be making a lot more money than I would if it was a normal day. And for staying late as well, any, you know, minutes, hours that you're staying late is very, very easily reimbursed. So I think that creates a slightly nicer work environment, nicer culture. But yeah, we're definitely not going surfing over lunchtime or whatever, which is what I thought I'd be doing. But I don't know why I thought that.
Is there one type of job that most people go to from here to Australia? The ones that I've heard of is ED. Is there anything else that people go to, or is that the main one?
ED is definitely really popular. For some reason, it's not that popular amongst the Australians, but it is a really, really good job, especially compared to the UK ED. You do so much more in the emergency department here. The ED regs are, you know, doing their own intubating and airways and everything, running the arrest team completely independently, you know, without calling other teams, etc. So it's really, really hands-on and you learn so much in ED. I'd say other common things, it depends what people are interested in. So you have different streams, at least in my hospital. There's the surgical stream, there's the medical stream, and you can show interest for whatever jobs you like or what career you want later. So actually all my friends out here we're all in very different jobs doing different combinations, but ED I'd say definitely is most popular, especially to do for a prolonged amount of time.
So it sounds like you obviously had quite a good idea of what Australia would be like before going out. Was there anything that you just didn't expect or really took you by surprise when you first got there?
Yes, so like I said, I thought life would be so chill here and I'd hardly be working, and the job I started on was pretty much the complete opposite of that. So I started on vascular surgery. It was just a short 5-week block. They were just slotting me in because I started at a weird time. So I wasn't there for long, but oh my god, vascular surgery, and surgery in particular here, is a little bit nuts. Like, the ward rounds start at 6 a.m. So you can imagine what time you have to get in and wake up and sleep the night before and everything. So like the whole week is, you know, I was in bed by like 9 p.m. most days. There's an absolute expectation to be there before the rest of the team as a junior. You know, prep the notes. Everything's on paper, by the way. For some reason, I didn't think that would be the case. I thought Australia was ahead of us, but actually they think we're a lot ahead of them in terms of technology. Yeah, prepping all the notes, getting there half an hour early, being ready to start the ward round at 6 a.m. And then the classic surgical ward round where it's like 12 seconds per patient, and by the time you've opened your notes, they've like finished the whole ward already. And your day finishes at 4, which is a little bit earlier, but not that much earlier than a normal working day back home. And it never would finish at 4 because they do the morning ward round in surgery, and they also do an afternoon ward round, which I've never done. I don't know if you guys have ever done that in England.
I did 2 surgical jobs and some of them would come back at 2.
Yeah.
Which was fine when they came at 2, but sometimes they come at 5 and you're like, I'm leaving?
You have like your jacket on, it's like 4:45 and they're like, oh, can we just see the patients again? You're like...
It does happen every now and then, yeah, but this was like a fixed part of every day. You just had to wait around. So my days were like over 12 hours.
So you had to get there
day.
Before 6 a.m. and then you'd stay late past 4 p.m. every day.
Yeah.
That is mad.
I was outraged. I was like, I did not come here for this. It was crazy.
So what are your normal working hours then?
So they varied, but so my vascular surgery job, I was rostered 6:30 till 4. Another surgery job I did after that, it was 7 a.m. till 3:30. So they do finish slightly earlier, but they do start pretty early in the morning.
So that sounds very intense. Apart from that, was there anything else that kind of surprised you about going out there?
Yeah, I think hand in hand with that, I was very outraged by my life in vascular. but no one else was, and everyone else was totally fine with it. And that like really shook me, because I was thinking like if we were, you know, in a team in the NHS, we'd all be like outraged. Here everyone kind of just goes along with it and was like, yeah, sure, we'll come early, sure, we'll come late. They didn't mind if we were staying late. I guess, yeah, you're getting paid, and you're getting paid well for every minute that you're late. But I guess because of the reasons I came to Australia, that time is worth more than the money to me. So I'd much rather leave than cash in overtime. But everyone else seemed totally fine with staying late, day in, day out. Even now, when I'm around the hospital, I see the day surgical teams there till 8 p.m. every single day, and they don't seem to mind. There is a bit of a culture of trying to impress your bosses and things here. Because of the training programs are very much about who you know, especially in surgery, but I think all across the board. So I think people are almost worried to not come in early and not stay late and not show that they are there all the time, which really, really shook me. I had no idea that was the kind of culture here.
Like I mentioned earlier on to you, quite a few of my friends went out there and have just never come back. They've managed to get training jobs and whatever they wanted. Why do people come back then? Because a lot of people do come back, I suppose.
Yeah, that's another thing actually, I guess, that surprised me, is I felt that most, if not all people who came here ended up staying, and that was the kind of norm. That's what I thought for some reason before I came here, but there are maybe about 80 or so of us here in Brisbane alone, and we obviously all got like a WhatsApp group and all hang out and stuff, so quite aware of what everyone's doing. And it seems like the vast majority are going back to England. Mostly not this year. I think this year maybe 4 or 5 out of the 80. But definitely in the foreseeable future, most people plan to go back. So the biggest reason, I think, is friends and family. Everyone's left all their families behind back in the UK, and it's been really nice that the borders have all opened. So loads of us have had our parents coming and going, which has been amazing. Another reason I'd say is that the training programs here are a little bit hard to infiltrate. Like I said, it's about who you know. So obviously, if you've been training here for years, you get to know more people and have more contacts. And coming in from the outside, it's very hard to start from scratch, put in the years to get to know enough people. So I think objectively, it's probably a little bit easier to get onto training programs back home. So yeah, I'd say those are the 2 reasons.
What are your plans? Are you planning to stay out there, come back to the UK, or not quite sure yet?
It's my daily conversation with my mum. I'm not too sure. I think I will come back for exactly the reasons I've told you. Surgery especially, it is a lot of years of grafting before you get onto a training program here. And I'm not in any rush, but I can just see an easier and quicker route already in England for me, especially with friends and family being there. It just seems like I would like to go back. So I think that's what's happening. But like I said at the beginning, I'm definitely taking another year out, because by the time you get here, get settled, starts to feel a bit homely, it's almost time to start applying and go back and make plans again. So I just want, a full year to enjoy it, and then we'll probably start applying for training at the end of this year for next year.
And once you're on that training ladder in the UK, that sort of, once you're on the escalator, you're there. You can't jump off. So you might as well enjoy your time while you're there. Is there any advice that you have for people who are thinking about going to Australia from the UK?
Yeah, I would say firstly, just absolutely do it. It's the best decision I've ever made. I'm having such a good time, and it's such a rare time in your life where you don't really have any strings attached or any responsibilities. At least for myself, I've got no dependents or anyone I'm looking after. I'm not attached to any training program. Geographically, I'm not attached anywhere, and there's so much freedom here to use your long weekends, do swaps and annual leave and everything to just explore this massive, massive country, which there is so much here to do. So yeah, I think it's been amazing from that point of view. It's also been really good from a sort of medicine education point of view, which I never really was planning for or thought about, but I have actually picked up so many more skills here, surgically as well. So if I go back into surgical training, I actually feel a bit more prepared. So it's been the best of both. So absolutely do it. Advice-wise would be to just have a really nice template email and send it absolutely everywhere, making sure you change the name of the person and the hospital name. You can look up their recruitment officer or resident medical officer recruitment. If you type in those kind of words into Google, you get all the details you need, and you just keep sending everyone your personal statement and cover letter, and soon the job offers and interviews start coming in, and that's it really.
And you've got plenty of videos on your channel about applying to Australia.
Yes, yeah. I have broken it down into a lot more detail.
Thanks for coming on, Surina. It's been really, really nice having you on the channel, and I'm sure everyone will agree that it's been eye-opening, learning a bit more about Australia.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to meet you both.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any questions for Surina or us, leave them down in the comments box below. If you've got anything that you want us to make a video about, please let us know as well. But otherwise, we'll see you next time.
See you later.